Good evening, guys. Happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces. It's weird, guys. It does not feel like a Saturday to me because we were gone from the house all day today pretty much. We ended up, I told you guys how we were throwing a family reunion, which we've not done in a really long time. But we ended up, my mom kind of, you know, sort of, I guess, organized this stuff, like figured out, like we ended up doing it at the park down the street from us, you know, like got all that stuff kind of set up and things like that, and figured out, you know, the food situation, which we did it kind of just like picnic style a little bit, where it was just like everybody kind of bring your own food. If you have meat to grill, like we had like a little, you know, like small little like grill roasting kind of thing, you know, like a little portable one. Like we did hot dogs on the grill. We ended up, you know, doing different stuff like that, but mostly everybody like brought sandwiches. Some people like brought like Subway sandwiches, other people made their own sandwiches. Like I made my own sandwich. I just made a peanut butter and honey sandwich, and then like I said, like we brought like hot dogs and just had extras for like if anybody else wanted them, like if either they didn't have enough or didn't bring enough or just wanted it, you know, like for food, like they could have that. And then everybody brought like a side dish or dessert to like pass around. So like, you know, macaroni salad, potato salad, there was a bunch of different desserts, pies and cakes and like all kinds of stuff. And so that was kind of the plan. And like I said, my mom though was super inspired by all of my aunt's pictures. So I told you guys, and I told my aunt this today when I saw her. She was like, so how are the pictures coming along? And I was like, I am done with them. I was like, I am finished with them. She seemed really surprised that I was like done with them already. And I was like, I don't know, like I feel like it took me way longer than it should have. Like in all honesty, I feel like I should have been done with this and had them like completely finished like months ago. Like I've had them for a really long time. So that's why I'm like, I hope she wasn't entirely expecting me to have like, you know, organized everything, like and written on the back of the pictures, like who's in these pictures, what was this from, like that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I sort of did that, but like I didn't write on the back of the photos because I didn't want to like, you know, damage the pictures in any way, or, you know, it write something incorrectly that was on the back of them. So what I just did was put them in envelope. I didn't put all of them in like specific envelopes. Like if it was like, oh, a trip to here and there's like 20 plus photos, I obviously put them in their own envelope. But if it was like, oh, like there's like a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 pictures from like a party, and then like the same year there's like something else going on, and then like, you know, again something else and whatever. If they were big events, I put them in their own envelope. But if there was just like, oh, like it was so-and-so's birthday and there's like maybe 4 or 5 pictures, and then like a month later it was like, oh, like this outing to this place or something like that, like I didn't like write all of that down individually and put them each into like individual like envelopes. I just kind of did like, you know, 1976, you know, like that kind of stuff. So I've shared with you guys that as I've kind of done the whole process over the last while. That's why I'm just concerned that like, she's like, oh, I'm surprised you're finished with them already. I'm like, should it have taken me longer? It's like, I feel like it should have not taken me as long as it actually did, because I feel like when I did our photos, all of our loose photos, which I genuinely don't know who had more, if my aunt did or if we did. I just know that our photos didn't feel like it took as long because I knew all of the stuff that like went on in them. I didn't really do like the 70s and 80s photos like when my mom was little and like growing up and like high school years and stuff like that. I was really good at like the 90s after I was born and stuff like that. Like I knew like this was this event, this was this thing, you know, like, and I could easily place everything. With my aunt, obviously, like all of her photos, it was much harder to place because I didn't know what was going on. Like my photos and my family photos, like, you know, close family was a lot easier than some of my aunt's photos. Like obviously I was like, oh, I know this was my cousin's 4th birthday or something like that, like I was there. But there was other stuff, you know, like my aunt and uncle's 4th birthday, I don't know, I was not, you know, like my mom was not even born at that time, you know, like that kind of stuff. So how would I know for sure? And so that's why I feel like it was a little bit more difficult, but it wasn't as difficult as I feel like, and as long of a process as I feel like it kind of should have been. And so I told her, I was like, I could probably have them like back to her within a few weeks, just because I wanted to scan still some of those old photos. I was not going to do all her photos because, to be honest, that'll take me years to do, because I don't have they have different kind of photo scanners where you could just load a stack of photos and it'll just like scan all of them. I have a stick one photo down, it's gonna scan it, I have to load it in and then pick it up, put it away, do the next one. Like, it'll take a long time, a decent amount of time to do. But anyways, so again, I told her that I was finished with that, but that I would probably get them back to her hopefully within like a week or two, because I actually need to get a different converter for my Mac versus my mom has her scanner and it will plug into her computer, but I wanted to do it off of my Mac and just have everything download and then be able to save the photos and then like do it all that way. So I will most likely, that'll take me a little bit of time, but like not nearly as long as it has to organize all the photos. So I was like, we can probably plan, like, I'm thinking maybe before, like, the thing is though is that because we're also throwing a 4th of July party in like 2 weeks, there's also going to be some of that as well. So I'm like, it might just be easier to be like, can I get them back to you after the 4th of July, just so that I know when I give myself enough time, because I know there's still other things that we have to do in anticipation for that as well. So anyways, I told her I was done with that, but the whole reason that we even kind of threw this whole family reunion type thing was because as we're going through my aunt's photos and I'm organizing them, obviously I'm communicating with my mom, who has been like even kind of sitting next to me while I've been doing most of this, honestly, and like I'll ask her questions about certain photos and stuff like that, you know, like, oh, what was this, what was that, you know. And my mom, even though it's my grandma's sister's photos that I'm going through, you know, so it's not even like it's my mom's mom that, you know, it's my mom's aunt that, you know, her photos that I'm going through and, you know, organizing them and everything like that. But you know, my mom was so close with like my aunt and like her kids, like my aunt and uncle, who are technically, I guess, my first cousins once removed or whatever. Funny, the family reunion, we had one of those like flow charts to like tell you like, oh, if you're here, this person would be your once, you know, your first cousin once removed or something like that. I actually figured out what I think is my first like aunt or uncle or something like that, or first cousin thrice removed. I have one of those and I was able to figure out who they were. And so we had one of those, like, you know, like my mom brought a whole bunch of like family type stuff, you know, things like that. And, you know, like kind of, I mean, everybody that was there was not super far, you know, related, that it was like, oh, I don't know who you are, but like in context, when you're just like, oh, my aunt, like you're thinking that's like your mom's sister or something like that, or your dad's sister, or, you know, something along those lines. But it's just like, just because they're really like my first cousin once removed, like technically they're still my aunt and uncle, that's still what I call them. But for my mom, it's her cousins. And so you know, like she was around for like all of the family stuff, like even stuff that was like on her, like my uncle's side of the family. Like my mom was still like involved in that kind of stuff, and that wasn't her dad, that was her like uncle-in-law, kind of, I guess, if that makes sense, because it was my grandma's brother-in-law. But like my mom was, again, super involved with, like, you know, it was very close. Like my grandma and aunt were really close also, and then my mom grew up with, like, you know, my aunt and uncle, like, again, her kids, my aunt's kids, as like her siblings practically. They were very close. So my mom was able to help fill in a lot of the stuff along the photo route. And as we're going through them, she was just like, this was like early on, this was like back in February when I think I first got the photos from my aunt. That's how long I've been working on them, guys. But you know, it was like February or March or something like that, and she was like, oh, you know, I miss this, like I miss, you know, like she's seeing all these family photos and like all this kind of stuff, and just like, you know, again, family parties that we would have, and it would be the whole family, like all extended, super extended family, like all this kind of stuff. And she was just like, oh, you know, like I really miss, you know, being, you know, and seeing that family. And then also too, because at Christmas, on Christmas Day, we ended up going over to one of my aunt's house, who, again, too, super confusing. It's my great grandma's sister's daughter. But again, too, my aunt, my grandma's sister, and her especially were like insanely super close. My grandma's a little bit younger, that's why, but like my aunt and then my other aunt, who's, like I said, my great grandma's sister's daughter, they were closer in age, so they were also like really close. And so we went over to her house for Christmas, and like we got to see some extended family that we haven't seen in a while. We haven't gotten to see, like, probably maybe it was like a wedding or maybe a graduation or something like that, you know, like the last time we saw maybe maybe even a funeral. But like, it's been a long time since we've seen a lot of these people, and my mom was just like, I really want to do something like, you know, throw some type of family reunion or something like that we can just all get together and be able to see them. And the pictures helped inspire my mom to kind of get that idea and like have that thought to do it as well. And just seeing all of that, and then having, you know, seen extended family we hadn't seen for a while at Christmas, she was like, you know, I want to be able to get all those people together. And so it was really cool to do that today and get a lot of people together. I think we probably had maybe close to 30, maybe 40 people, something like that there. I think that we were like aiming between 30 to 50 people. I think it was on the lower end, I think, of what, like I said, we were kind of anticipating. Like, again, to my aunt's, the one that threw Christmas, like, or had the Christmas party this year, she was actually sick, so she wasn't able to come, and like, but she was anticipating it. There was also not technically family, but like like I was saying, my aunt and my grandma's sister and my great grandma's sister's daughter, like, they were really close, like I was telling you guys. And then they had a whole bunch of like friends that they grew up with. Like, again, too, there's pictures in black and white that we have of my one aunt that was actually at like a confirmation or a graduation party or something like that. She was in those photos, and she's been a family friend since, like, you know, I don't know, like they were little kids and stuff like that. Like, they all grew up together, and they just remained friends like throughout the year. And so two of those aunts, who technically are not really aunts, but they've just been around in the family for so long, they are really, you know, kind of like our aunts. They were also there. So it was really fun just to get to see, like I said, extended family, extended like family friends, you know, that are really like family. Because like my mom even too, like, grew up with them, like calling them aunts, because that was, you know, like, they've just been around since they were all little kids together and stuff like that. So it was, like I said, a really great day to get to spend with family. And surprisingly, even though it was like 90 degrees out, there was a beautiful breeze. We were under the shade of the pavilion and these big oak trees, so it was actually very, very cool. Like, surprisingly, we thought it was going to be like sweltering heat, and if you were in the sun, it was a little not so nice. But I mean, reality was, it was a pretty nice day. We were pretty lucky, actually. I mean, had it been a little bit cooler, like maybe 80 degrees, it would have been a tad bit nicer, but the weather still was really nice. And also too, it's currently thunderstorming right now, but there was no rain. I mean, there was a couple times it got real cloudy, looked like it could rain. We got no drops of rain at all. It was just a really, really nice day. And like I said, getting to catch up with a lot of family that we don't normally get to see was also really, really, really awesome. So my mom wants to make it a yearly event, and hopefully we'll be able to do some type of family reunion like this every year. And hopefully, as we're able to do it more often, we can kind of, you know, like, anticipate and have more family be able to come. Because again too, even though my mom planned it for a while, there was, you know, like, things we didn't know people had going on, or, you know, were doing, or whatever, you know, like that kind of stuff. You know, people had things planned. So if we continue to do it yearly around the same time, we can maybe anticipate some of that as well, and, you know, get more family to hopefully be able to come also. But like I said, it was really awesome to get to see a lot of family. Again too, we haven't seen in a while, which is always great to be able to see, you know, family and stuff like that. So I took a shower already because I put sunscreen on and stuff like that. I was like, it wasn't really sweaty or gross. It was just like, I wore sandals and like my feet felt dirty. I had sunscreen all over me. I was like, I kind of just want to wash off. So I already took a shower, so I'm just gonna, you know, get to bed now. Today was just a really great day, and, you know, like I said, getting to hear also too a lot of family stories and history type stuff that, like, you know, family history or lore, I guess, that I've never gotten to like hear about stuff, or questions too that like I had about like things I'd heard possibly, or my mom did, and kind of conveyed some of that stuff to me. Like, you guys know I love genealogy stuff, and that's why we did like boards with like pictures and like genealogy things and stuff like that on there, and got to share all of that with family too, that some people don't know, and then other people are able to fill in more blanks that like we didn't know and stuff like that. So it was really cool to get a lot of that information. But Like I said, it was a really, really fun, great day to get to spend with everybody. But I'm gonna go get to bed now, so I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog with a jewel haul I should have. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you guys did enjoy today's vlog, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.